Jim Cargill is a fourth generation banker and he leads Arvest Bank's Central Arkansas operations. This summer, he was installed as the new chairman of the Arkansas Bankers Association. That was our springboard for our conversation on the state of banking in Arkansas. What is the biggest challenge facing Arkansas banks right now? If you had to quantify all of the regulatory things, everything going on with COVID-19, everything else that goes on with the normal bank operations, what's the biggest challenge right now?
Well, I'd have to say at this point, it's leveraging a huge amount of liquidity against an opportunity for earnings. Loan demand has been actually kind of started off last year pretty strong and continued for a few months, but it has slowed down a bit. If you're talking about commercial business type lending, and there's just a few deals that are being chased by a large number of banks, and so the margins are pretty thin if you end up with one. So it's that's kind of our biggest challenge across Arkansas right now. The good side of it, though, on the lending front is home loans are clearly a hot commodity. We just don't have enough product on the ground, and in most of the communities that I work directly with, actually 12, according to the latest census, 12 of the 30 largest communities in the state are in our footprint, and there is a huge demand for housing in all of those communities.
Yeah, I would think that the red hot housing market is certainly what has driven a lot of profitability. I don't have to tell you, bank profitability in Arkansas, just among Arkansas banks, rose 128% in the second quarter, according to some FDIC statistics. That's year over year growth, clearly fueled by what we saw earlier this spring, leading into the summertime. Would you say that's what drove the earnings growth in the second quarter?
Yeah, of course, the PPP activity was a big contributor there. And then interestingly, a lot of that liquidity created by the funding of those PPP loans is still sticking around. So, hopefully that translates into future investment and expansion and things of that nature. And I think a lot of some of our key business leaders in manufacturing are thoughtfully considering how to redesign their operations to embrace this new arrangement we have. Delivery channels and such that have changed so dramatically. So hopefully we'll see that money get put to use and leverage it with some lending support.
Do you think that the liquidity that you're talking about, this cash on the sidelines, which is another way to describe that, do you think that the hesitancy to spend it is just, we're still in this period of uncertainty with COVID-19 as we see the virus mutate? Is that what's got everybody on pause, or is it something else happening in the economy at large?
I think it's more about having the opportunity to evaluate how they can best utilize that funding to be more efficient and effective and successful. With some of the new challenges that you have, your competition is adapting, and so you kind of have to pay attention to that. Roby, just to use a comparison to our own industry, our banking industry. Matter of fact, Arvest is announcing a very large scale dive into a totally different arrangement in the digital world. We're going to be adopting a next generation core banking platform, working with a company called Thought Machine and Accenture to totally redesign the way we operate the bank internally from the core, and and all the way through, because I mean, our focus, like many companies, your focus is to try to do your very best for your customers and be there the way they need you. But as we have seen the adoption of technology move ahead, I would say 5 to 7 years in the course of the last 18 months, we are all clearly trying to wrestle with how do we deploy our services and be relevant to the customer base that's become so comfortable with technology.
So tell me how that's going to change things internally or externally for Arvest Bank with what you're talking about, this technology transfer. I don't want you to get ahead of, obviously what's going to be revealed, but share with me how things will be different. Will there be a different system in terms of interaction with tellers? Will there be a different way to do a consumer loan or a mortgage? What's going to be different?
I think that, and this is all new to all of us. So, and that's why we're trying to be very thoughtful and work with some organizations that we think are going to be great advisors. But as you've seen, the fintech activity deployed within our state and across our country and the world, the way you can go about delivering financial services is dramatically different and requires much less capital than traditional banking. So I think where we might see the greatest impact is going to be that banks, community banks, especially those that we have around Arkansas, will find that they have a way to leverage their great reputation and being close to the community into a digital space with better web-based applications and things of that nature. I mean, we've seen a dramatic change in the percentage of transactions that we traditionally handled through drive-ins, ATMs, lobbies, and such, and move to the digital world very quickly in the existing web-based offerings that we have. So I think that's sort of where I expect to see a big difference. But saying that, we have already learned, and our customers have gotten very comfortable with the use of interactive ATMs. They've been around a while, but with the pandemic and the fact that we have all, like any other business, we've ended up with a inadequate amount of staffing. Just the labor force has just been impacted dramatically for us, like anybody else. And so going to have a hub arrangement with these tellers that can be in a few places across our footprint, yet serve all of our communities with interactive teller machines, and actually do it for more hours of the day than any bank could traditionally do, has really moved us forward. It's been our new account acquisitions are up, and it's really been another great lesson in how our customers have learned to adapt, and so we've geared up for that.